Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to my channel. Today we will take a look at the setup inspired from Adam Swaab. It was one of the first things that I attempted to recreate in Houdini, but I failed. And now, after 1.5 years, finally the setup turned out super basic, so it's really a beginner-friendly tutorial. And actually, this tutorial is the first one where we are rendering it with a Redshift inside Houdini. We are not exporting Alembics as we usually do. And also make sure you watch this video till the end, because I will share with you just one thing that will save your time, money, and make your 3D motion design life a lot easier. So make sure you don't skip that part. As always, huge thank you to everyone who is supporting me by purchasing my project files. There's a link in the description where you can find tons of useful project files, presets, assets, all the things you need to create your next stunning 3D project. Alright, so we are in Houdini and let me show you what we got here. So we dropped a GeoNode, and this is the wall setup. So what do we have here? We have our grid with a primitive type set to points, size is 20 by 10. Rows, we have this node called controls null, and just for demonstration purposes, it's input resolution set to 500. This is a custom input that you can just click this gear here and edit parameter interface, and then get your, let's say, integer, label it, call it, and you'll have that. And basically then you can set copy parameter, and here in the grid or any other parameter you can right click on the any attribute or parameter, and then paste relative reference, and you will have this expression here that basically feeds the data from this input in here. It's not necessary. I've done that just because I constantly went from like this preview setting to like production, which is 2500. But yeah, basically rows and columns is that same number multiplied by 2, because we have 20 by 10 size. And then we drop a color node and colorize all of our points to black. And then we drop a box, which is a really tiny, in terms of width, box with a pretty big amount of axis divisions. But here, important thing for that box is make sure it's animated. So here you can see one keyframe, and here's another. So yeah, just animating that box. And we colorize that box to be red. We colorize all the points to be constant color. 1, 0, 0, it's red. And here we have our attribute transfer. In attributes, we want to transfer point attribute color, CD. And in the conditions, kernel function set to boolean, kernel radius set to 1, max sample count set to 1, distance threshold set to 0.01, and blend width set to 5. And it results in a really smooth gradient. You can see it here. And all the magic happens here with a little bit of wax code, and don't worry, it's not scary, it's really very simple. I'll go through all of these thingies here. You can do that in Bobs, by the way, but I just prefer wax, maybe because of my developers past. Alright, so here in point wrangle, we basically have a noise, and thanks to username Tamte from Sidefx forum, here's a direct link to that topic here. So he actually showed this function, which is basically a turbulent noise. And here, all of the thingies are your regular parameters that you adjust when you set up the noise. Frequency is a vector 1, 1, 1 in this case. Offset is add time divided by 10, because we want our noise to be sort of animated, and when we animate the offset, you will see that noise kind of flows a bit. And then we have our amplitude, and amplitude is pretty important here, because it's CDR and basically amplitude is the value of our red color. So you can see, let's say at the frame 120, the maximum red color amount is here in the center, and then it fades out to the sides. So if we turn on the turbulent noise, you can see that we have the most amount of noise here, and then it also like a fade outs here. So that's how it works. And roughness set to 0.6, attenuation set to 1, and turbulence set to 6. And this is your function for a noise, like anti-alias, I think, noise, or yeah, correct me in the comment section. But basically it consists of point position multiplied by frequency plus offset. Then goes turbulence, roughness, attenuation, and we multiply all of that by our amplitude. And here, if we just create the noise, obviously it won't do anything because it's just like a variable here. So we need to add that to the position of each point, and I'm saying each point because wrangle goes through all the points in the geometry. So here what we have is vector position plus equals, which is a short form for like writing it like that. You can skip this part and just say like this. So we add our noise position to the initial position, and then I wanted to colorize it, so I set the vector of color because color is RGB, right? And I have my vectors Y values. So the color is, I mean, the higher the points are above the ground plane, the whiter they will be. But if you want to, let's say, set the amplitude to be CDR multiplied by something, and you will have these mountains higher, then we need a fit node, because obviously we cannot set the color to be higher than 1. So here comes the fit01 function, and we feed our initial value and we set a new minimum and new maximum. In this case it's 0 and 1. And then there's just a float y value, which is basically a float representation of the color. Just because then after this point wrangle we will need to drop a color node, and somehow when I write here like CDR it doesn't work, so I need to like another value. If you know why CDR isn't working, let me know in the comments. And the range is 0, 1, and yeah, just a simple gradient here, and that's it. Then I cached it out just so it's a bit quicker. And also I'm using, much more points, around 2500, I think, or actually 2000. And yeah, that's it. I also added a ginormous grid, just because I wanted like nice shadows. I don't want these spheres to be in like a blank space. So for the light, one redshift light, arrest light, intensity set to 500. Yeah, just one light here. And in the materials, I have two materials. One of them is this one, particle attribute lookup, and we grab the particle CD attribute, then we plug it into the diffuse. You see diffuse isn't active. I adjusted the roughness a bit, plugged it to the surface of the redshift material. And the second one is just a pitch black material, and it's assigned to the grid. Here you can see that material, and here in the our particle geometry, in the Redshift OBJ, particles is set to render objects as particles, and global scale multiplier is 0.048. But you will need to adjust that if you are using more or less particles than I'm using. For the camera, let me show you. It's this one. So what do we have here? I'm rendering that in the Instagram Reels or TikTok format because honestly, and yeah, feel free to leave me your opinion, but for me it seems like that our landscape 920 1080 format is slowly dying, and yeah, we are more and more watching our content vertically, especially in social medias. So focal length set to 80, sampling, redshift camera, depth of field enabled, photographic exposure enabled. I am not rendering that with ACES, just because let me get with the redshift alone and then I will enable that, maybe in like next tutorials. Let me show you also the render settings. So my settings for the redshift is unified sampling threshold set to 0.002, minimum sample set to 128, max samples 1024, overriding reflection samples to 256, lights to 1024. That's, I think, in globals, what I did here. Rendering space set to scene linear, right? Because I don't want OCIO. Turned off these. Global illumination set to brute force and brute force. Maybe that's a bit of an overkill here. Acoustics turned off. So let me show you how it looks. Let's go to the render and render view. Now this is how it looks. And I really like how it looks. Here you can see all the particles, all the details. So I'm pretty satisfied on how I recreated this sort of Adam Swaab setup. And now guys, I told that in the end of the video I'll share really cool stuff with you. So this setup here with my setup of the redshift and my configuration of the samples takes me around 4 minutes with a bucket rendering mode. What if I tell you that I found a way to render out all of these 300 frames in around an hour? So I want to introduce you to the Fox render farm. And here you can see it's basically this project that I'm recording a tutorial for right now. And I was going back and forth between like setting up my own render farm with let's say, I don't know, maybe buying some used cars, because right now I just cannot afford myself to spend like, I don't know, thousands on even like two 3090s. I even cannot find them in stock here in Latvia. So these guys are crazy. They are absolute beasts. What if I tell you that I can open up this one and I rendered all of these 300 frames here for just 22 bucks. And you can see how fast it goes. It renders around, I don't know how much they are, the nodes, they usually they do around 20 or even 50, or there was a day where they gave me 100 nodes and each node was rendering 20 frames. And I'm using their services for quite some time, and their support is 24/7 online. They are, if I'm like struggling to upload something, they will point out that, hey, you have missing assets. And I was like, oh, all right. But yeah, anyways, this is crazy. And I mean, I have my affiliate link down in the description if you want to sign up. But I genuinely and truly think that this is mind-blowing. And I mean, it saves so much time for so low cost. For me, this sequence of 300 frames would be around, I don't know, 2 days of rendering or something. But they done it in less than an hour. That's crazy. So if you also don't want to waste your time and wait for renders, be sure to check out the link in the description. Seriously, these guys are awesome. I tried a few another render farms before, and no one can beat this price and this speed and this precision. So seriously, give it a shot. Check these guys out. Link is in the description. Alright guys, so that's all for today. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you find my tutorials helpful, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and don't forget to check out the project files and assets on my Gumroad. I'll be back next week. Bye!